So for those of you guys who do not know me, I'm Olivia at OMG Artistry. I've been teaching social media now for about 6 years. I actually, in the very beginning of time, I was a videographer in high school. So I'm a videographer turned beauty content creator. I worked at a salon in the midst of that. I was an assistant since I was about 13 years old, sweeping up hair, getting coffee for the little ladies. And it was a big experience for me to understand what it was like to work really, really hard. My mom was actually my first mentor ever, and she also was a shampooist at the salon. Going through my high school years, I started to become very familiar in the arts, whether that was videography, photography, and I really found and honed in on a passion for video. Moving forward, I actually went to college for videography, and it was a huge opportunity for me to really showcase my creative side when it came to all things that are digital, right? So during the midst of me sort of figuring out a digital landscape, Facebook actually had came out. So MySpace was already current, then Facebook had came out. But while I was in school, I actually kind of fell out of love with videography. I spent all this money. I think you guys could relate to this. You go to college, you spend all this money to figure out that maybe that's not your passion anymore. So I actually came home from college at UCF, and I told my mom, I said, hey, what are we gonna do? I always look to my mom to help me and figure it out. And she said, Olivia, why don't you go to cosmetology school? And I go, you know what? I go, that is a fantastic idea. During this time, it was actually a massive struggle for my family because it was right when the economy had crashed, is right when I had came home. That was actually the second reason why I ended up coming back. I was so excited to actually like find a passion in doing hair again, right, from when I was younger, that I ran to the school, Sheridan Vocational High School, and I enrolled. I was about 20, maybe 19, 20 years old. And I said, where do I sign up? Where can I get financial aid? Everything. Well, what ended up happening was is they told me that I did not qualify for financial aid because on paper, my parents made too much money the year before. Well, like I had mentioned, there was an economy crash, and my mom actually lost her job. So she didn't have the same job. I was in debt from massive amounts of education and schooling for a job that I wasn't even going to pursue anymore. And I told them, I go, I will sweep the floors. I'll go back to my assisting. I will stay after hours, anything in order for me to receive an education. I was so passionate about doing hair, and I would have done anything to make it happen. Well, after bothering them for 6 weeks and 6 days, the front desk girl who I always asked, hey, can you help me out? She ended up giving me a grant to go to school. She ended up giving me a grant for an education, for a career, for a lifetime. And that's actually why I educate. That's actually why, if you guys direct message me online and you ask me questions and you shoot me direct messages, I will always answer because someone took the time out of their lives and took a risk on me to be educated. And I have a career that will last me a lifetime. I can take my two hands and I can work anywhere in the entire world. And that's why I give back every single day through education of social media. When I fast forward, when Instagram actually originally came out, I thought it was just like a filtering app that gave you like borders. I had no idea what it was. And then I noticed people started following me. And I'm like, what is this thing? I don't even know. Followers, never heard of it. People need to ask me to be my friend. But what I slowly started to realize was that it was a forum like Facebook, right? And I was already getting clients via Facebook. And I grew actually pretty quickly because I refound my passion for photography and videography. So let me explain. I actually started taking pictures of hair. I started taking videos of my clients and posting it online. And then I realized that Instagram is not only just a forum, but it's also a portfolio. So what ended up happening was is that I decided that I was going to invest a lot of time into social media. And I was investing a lot of time into this app, but very quickly noticed that it started getting me big jobs. It started getting me ideal clientele. We'll go a little bit into that, the importance of Instagram in just a moment. But here's a little video first.
Social media is not about doing social. It's about being social. I love my job.
So through different situations, I was able to go from a very, very small town that's called Cooper City, that is literally 2 miles long. You can see from one traffic light to the next, to something locally, to something globally. And yes, I'm going to say that again. Somewhere from locally to globally through the education of online and through my research. It's actually brought me the opportunity to work with such celebrities as Paris Hilton, Nick Jonas. I've also worked on shows with Britney Spears. I've also worked with Nikki Gumbelson from Real Housewives. Do you guys know how Paris Hilton actually found me? Was through hashtag Miami Hairstylist. And she saw my portfolio, she saw my content and my things online, and she knew exactly what artist that she was hiring. But where did it all start? So let's go back to the very, very, very beginning, okay? This is my first video ever on YouTube.
Hello there, everybody. I am going to be doing some new tutorials on some makeup, and then sooner or later be
Make sure you guys all mute. I can hear you.
I'll show you first how I did this beautiful smoky eye.
Okay, this is enough of this video. But you guys could just see baby Olivia versus Olivia now. That was right when the Naked palette came out, for reference. So moving right along from this very embarrassing video, why do we use social media? Okay, so keep in mind, guys, I am inside of the chat box still. I'm still talking to you. Let's interact. I see a lot of people in here. I see people from Christine. I see Salon Mix in here. I see Nicole, Andrew. So guys, make sure that you guys are writing me. All right. So keep in mind, I'll be asking you questions and then you guys can answer in the chat box. So these are the 4 C's, okay? Content, context, cross-promotion, and consistency, okay? So what is content? Content is your photos and it's your videos, okay? They say that content is king, but you know what queen is? Is context. So your context is actually your captions. So think about it like this. If you are only posting pictures on Instagram, you are only utilizing the app at a 50% capacity, right? Because if you're not explaining what's going on, what is the point of posting a picture of a hairspray? There's no call to action. There's no explanation. There's no story, right? Why would somebody come in and ask for that? Why would somebody come in and ask for a balayage? So we'll go a little bit into captions later on. Cross promotion. I love this one. I love cross promotion. So working in a salon with other hairstylists, right? I have a lot of friends that are in the industry. I love the manner of working together to create content. Maybe somebody's doing the color, maybe somebody's doing the haircut and style, right? Because what ends up happening is even the people that you work in your salon, do you know what I love most? Is when I'm at the salon and Amanda walks through the door and she's going, hey, Susie, the other hairstylist, saying, hey, Jennifer, the massage therapist, hey, Tiffany, right? So when you hear that your client feels so comfortable walking through the door, it starts to feel like family. And I've actually done that through a lot of cross promotion online. This in this video is actually my best friend who also does hair that I'm able to even do content with her online. But the last one is consistency. All right, we're going to have a really hard conversation right now because before I even get started on teaching you guys social media, there are two things that I want you to keep in mind. Consistency is more important than perfection. Take a screenshot of that right now because what ends up happening is I know everyone in here, because I still suffer from it too, is analysis paralysis. So much so that you just don't do anything. Meaning that you think so hard into what you're doing that your brain swells and you just don't let anything go out or anything come in. You need to realize that if you are someone, and in the chat box, make sure you tell me if this is you or not. If you are somebody that has analysis paralysis, the first is recognizing it. The second is realizing that consistency is more important than perfection. I can give you guys all the tools in the world, all of these slides. But if you can't get out of your own way, I'm wasting my breath and you're wasting your thought. Okay? Do not be a dreamer. Be a doer. Do not overthink it because perfectionism is the all rule of tearing down the ideal thought that you can actually be successful only through perfection. Okay? So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about consistency. Consistency is by far the most important thing online in order to build. Every time you post online, it is contributing towards your digital footprint. Okay. So, what does your digital footprint say about you? We're going to go a little bit into branding. Okay. So, you want to make sure that whatever you're posting online is purposeful. Okay. I just mentioned something about posting a picture of hairspray. What is the purpose? So every single time I go to post a picture or a video, I ask myself, is it the rule of EEI? Is it entertaining? Is it educating? Or is it inspiring? Or is it all three? An ideal post would have all three of those things. So let's talk about the entertaining factor of it. All right. So entertaining would be in your caption telling a story. Entertainment would be a video, right? Which we'll talk a little bit about algorithms later on in this class and why they're so important, but also educating. So what you really want to decipher is, what is my goal for this month? Okay. Do I want to become an educator where I'm educating other hairstylists, right? Or do I want more clients in my chair? That's what you really have to say to yourself. Say, well, why would I not want more clients in my chair if I'm doing hair? Or why would I not be posting about education if I want to work for a platform? There is a hybrid space that lives. But when you are trying to attract clients, you do not need to be putting necessarily all the information that a hairstylist would understand. Let me break it down for you. There are terminologies, baby lighting, root melting, all of those words people don't necessarily understand. So why don't you educate them on this? Okay, show them a side by side of what a root melt is versus a smudge. So when they come into the salon, they can ask for this or this. Okay. But then inspiration. So inspiration, don't just think like, oh, I'm inspired, like whatever, I want to get my hair done. No, it's not like that. It's, I'm going to come in because you just educated me on this hairspray and why I need it. Okay. So also keep in mind that any product that you guys are posting online is another reason for you to accentuate your bill at the end of the day, which we'll talk a little bit about that later on. So being purposeful with your posting is extremely important. So take a screenshot of this and remember these three things every single time you post a video or a photo. So I want you guys in the chat box right now to start seeing what is wrong with these next photos, okay? Go right ahead and go in on all of them. So what is wrong with the upper left hand corner of these pictures? Beautiful hairstyle, gorgeous hairstyle. There's a baby. There's a baby, a woman staring right into your eyeballs. What about the upper right? Background's too much. What about the super orange stations. Yes, your stations make a big deal. What about the yellow wall? Okay, it makes her hair look orange. You could see someone's pants on the left-hand side. The hair is super shiny. Was a keratin treatment, super, super shiny, but everything is to distraction. Needs to be cleaner photos. Yes. What about the lower left? All right. Beautiful style, gorgeous, but there's a bag on the floor. But also, what about the light? Yes, the lighting. It's blown out, right? You could see every single little frizz and imperfection in her hair. And then what is wrong with the one on the lower right? So this is actually a video. Yes, this photo has a lot of different elements to it, but first and foremost, this is the thumbnail of the video. So never ever post your before as the cover photo, okay, for your online page. You always want to make sure that you're posting the after. So, but in general, this is just a hot mess. These are all my photos. These are all my photos from the time that I was 21 till about 26, 27 years old. Do you guys want to see my photos now? These are my photos now. It's not that there is something that is added, it's what you're taking away from the photos, okay? Figuring out how can I really, as a client, right? You know what you guys should do? Maybe every like 2 to 3 months, go to your Instagram page and go like this. Say, if I was out of town right now in Chicago, New York, LA, Missouri, and I was looking for a hairstylist, would I go to me? Would I go to me at the salon by just looking at my page? Would a client be able to tell what I even do at the salon? Okay, so let's go a little bit into these photos. I do not mind side by sides at all. However, when you're doing a side by side, still make sure that the background is clean, right? Have it look consistent next to each other, so it's not somebody in a smock and then somebody in regular clothes, right? So everything needs to look consistent, and the only thing that has changed is maybe a touch up of makeup and the actual hair. The background has not changed, the outfit has not changed, okay? And even the angle of the face. Let me tell you guys why. So I've done some research, and I know even with Darina, she's a hair photographer. She's fantastic. We were talking about this, and she said, why do people love braids so much? Because the brain has a consistency and it knows a pattern. Okay, so that's where the word aesthetically pleasing comes into play. It's because it's a pattern. So with her looking in the same angle, it's seeing side by side that it is the exact notion of that picture. Okay, so look at off to the right. Look at how, guys, in the chat box, do you not love this upper right hand corner picture? There is a large difference between a walk out the door blow dry and a Instagrammable blow dry. Would you not agree? This took me that extra 20, 30 minutes with hairspray and a rat tail comb and moving the hair around, manipulating it, spraying shine spray on it. It is a huge difference. This is one of my top liked photos on Instagram. I know every single time I post this image, I'm going to get at least a couple hundred likes on it because it's so beautiful. It's so consistent, right? The shine, it's beautiful, shiny hair. People are like, I want that. But it did take me that extra 20, 30 minutes, which we'll talk a little bit back later on. So if you guys look at the bottom, this would be considered a pro video. So just what I was talking about, it's a secret technique, right? So this is what I like to call like a clickbait, like somebody's curious, like, ooh, what's the secret technique, right? So the way that I make my videos, I live in a prosumer world. So you'll notice everything on my Instagram page can speak to pros and consumers because at the end of the day, all the pros are consumers. So whether it's my hair hacks, my hair myths. If you guys have seen those online, they're so fun. Tips, tricks, hair science, no matter what it is. But then look off to the right, and what is in that photo? Me. So, guys, make sure that about every in between 5 to 10 photos that you're showing a picture of you. We'll go a little bit into personal branding too. But if you guys notice, this is a video of me curling my hair. This is what you would consider a consumer video. Consumer meaning client, meaning anyone that's going to come into the salon for you. I think it's very important to educate your audience, because they say if you ever learn something from somebody, you're always at the top of their brain. Okay, I'm sure you guys have seen some of my hair hack videos online, and every time you go to do that hair hack, you think of me, right? So that's why you guys should be educating online, because sometimes there's people that follow me on Instagram that don't even get their hair done with me, but that are recommending people to me because I'm either number one or number two in their brain through my content, my context, and my consistency. Okay. So, what is your brand? All right. So, I want you guys to really start thinking outside of just posting and what really your brand message is to your clientele and to every viewer online. So, this is a what's in my brain. Okay. And I'm actually in the process of shifting my brand just a minuscule. So I want to explain this and then I'll explain my shift a little bit, but I wanted to give you guys an example. So I started to say, I actually went to a pool show, believe it or not. My husband used to work with Paw Patrol and Hatchimals, and now he works with National Geographic. But I was at a pool show and I took a branding class, if you believe not. And they were talking about branding your backyards and pool. And this guy said, he was talking about colors. And he said, everyone, and write in the chat box too, think about your favorite color and write it down in the chat box. So, what you can actually do is you can actually look up the brand personality of a color. So I said to myself, I go, okay, well, what are my two favorite colors? And my two favorite colors are a mauve pink and a baby periwinkle blue, right? So I started to look up all the traits of pink. So it's somebody who's bubbly, somebody who's charismatic. Blue is somebody that's kind of like down to earth, very relaxed, very chill. So I said, okay, well, I want to incorporate my favorite colors because it's also a part of my personality into my brand. So that's actually where I got started, was my colors. And then I started to think about textures. What does my eye draw to when I go to the store or I'm shopping online? Iridescence, I love pastels. Okay, well, what do I like to do on the weekend, right? I love greenery. I love the water. So I basically created my own brand based off of everything that I love. And let me explain to you why that's so important. Doing this and having a brand mood board is more important than going to all the high influencers in the industry and seeing what they're doing. Now, can you get inspiration and STEM? Sure. But you always want to be a first rate version of you and not a second rate version of someone else. A lot of architects do this. When they stem from buildings or people that do decor, that's how they stem, is through the personality, through that inspiration. So what I want you guys to do as homework is to actually go to Pinterest and just start pinning what you like. Okay. So maybe you might see 2 hair pictures on here. So don't necessarily pin hair pictures. Just post what you like. And then look at it like this and say, how can I build a brand off of this? So I'm actually in the process of rebranding a minuscule amount, but it's a version of this. So I actually had this piece made, so it's still on tone, but I'm going a little earthy. So this is like OMG 2.0 going on right now, because I like to shift my brand maybe every like 5 years, maybe even, oh no, it's been like 3 years. Okay, so I'm shifting my brand every 3 years, but I'm still staying on trend. All right. So Moving on to the next one. Uh, Remember, we were talking about purposeful posting, content. What are you posting online? Okay. So if you guys look off to the left, this was an old version of my page. Okay. So you have black and white in here. You have pictures of models. You have terrible side by sides. You have special effects. You have a picture of a selfie with coffee, working out pictures, more special effects, more black and white and selfies. Like, what do you do, Olivia? This makes no sense at all. It's terrible. What was I even thinking, right? I had to get started somewhere. But it was only until I actually figured out what my brand was and what my colors were, that I thought that in the middle, this is what's best. Okay, I'm gonna do the bloggy, the lifestyle. But guess what? As much as this is on brand with my colors, I was missing the component of education. Okay, there's one hair, two, three. I'm in a bikini. I'm cheersing somebody. A picture with me and another friend. Like, when somebody looks at your page, they have to know immediately, what do you do? They didn't know what I did. It was beautiful, but that's when we move on to the next one. This is better than what I thought was best. Okay, because I'm building a portfolio. Instagram is to make monies. Otherwise, it's for your ego. I'm going to repeat that, and that's exactly how I feel about it. If you're online, you are building a portfolio to contribute towards your career, to contribute towards your digital footprint. So let's look here. Photos and videos of me foiling, pictures of me doing my makeup, pictures of me doing my hair, showing flat ironing techniques, right? When somebody goes to this page, they're going to say, she's a hairstylist. She does hair. Okay. That's why this is better than best. This is better than black and whites. This is better than bloggy lifestyle photos, right? That's fine if you want to be a blogger. But if you want to continue to get people to sit in your chair, that's when you start to realize, what am I posting online? Okay. So we're going to play a game, and this is called Photoshop or Not. So again, this is the interactive side. So make sure you guys are jumping into the chat box. And I want to talk about Photoshop and filtering. Okay. This is really, really important, because what ends up happening is, online, through anything that is filtered, you are setting yourself up for failure. And let's talk a little bit more about that. Okay. So I want you guys to look at this picture, and in the chat box, do you think that this is Photoshopped or not? So type it in inside. So beautiful, gorgeous, super whitish hair. But guess what? Yes, you guys are right. This is Photoshop. Give yourself all of a round of applause. But how do you identify if a photo is photoshopped or not? Okay, so keep this as an example, as when your clients walk in, how you can identify if a photo is photoshopped or not, because you have to be the one to tell them this. You have to be the one to tell them this is a wig. Because what ends up happening is, it sets an unrealistic expectation for what they want. Okay, so how do you notice? You're going to want to look at the arms, any desaturation where the hair meets the skin. All right, and then you're going to see off to the side. And this is the original photo. Let me go back. That is nuts. Okay, if I was like a little more strategic about this, I could have probably made this I could have probably made this a real nice photo Photoshop. Because what ends up happening is, if you, let's say for instance, it kind of also messes with us a little bit, right? It's like, why can't I achieve that white blonde hair? Why can't I achieve it? Well, guess what? That person didn't achieve it either, and acted. So don't feel so hard on yourself. But let's say that you are somebody that does specialize in blonde, and I'm just going to use this as an example, right? Like super whitish blonde hair. I would advise getting a professional camera. We'll talk a little bit about my equipment later on, but sometimes if you're a blonde specialist, your iPhone is picking up very similar tones of blonde. It's only until you get a real professional camera that you can differentiate those tones. We'll get to that later on. Okay, So let's move on to the next one. Do you guys think that this is photoshopped or not? What do you think? No, no, no. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys said that because you are correct. It is not photoshopped, but you know what is photoshopped? All of these, right? I'm sorry, but unless you are X-Men or superhero, there is no way your hair will look that neon purple ever. Ever. But how do I identify? Again, so you're going to want to look at the chest area to see if there's any bleeding of colors, where the hair meets the t-shirt, or even like the forehead area, because you'll start to see that differentiating. But with that being said, it's either a wig or it's photoshopped. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about my setup. For what I do is I actually just upgraded to the iPhone 12. I had the iPhone X and I loved it. I had the iPhone 11 and it's too yellow. My opinion only. Way too yellow. I started to notice that it was ingesting some sort of tonality that was extremely frustrating for me. I don't know if you guys have noticed that as well. I upgraded to the 12 and I am so, so much happier. So let me talk a little bit about Androids versus iPhones. Okay. The difference between an Android is Androids will always be more yellow. Always, no matter what. Okay, because Androids are really good for landscape. They show more vibrancy because remember warm vibrancy, right? So they take really good landscape pictures and good nighttime pictures. But for hair, if you take a picture on an Android, it's going to take it more yellow and your screen is more yellow. Okay. That means that if your client comes into the salon with an Android phone and she's showing you a picture of hair, that tone is more yellow. Yes, you heard right. I did so much research about this because I wanted to know. I've probably taught social media to over 500,000 hairstylists, and that is the biggest question that they ask me is why can't I use my Android? Well, you can, but keep in mind it's always going to look more yellow because the iPhone is more blue. Okay, so more blue, cooler tone, especially when you're dealing with outside elements, it helps to really white balance. All right, so iPhone 12, great, 10, great, 11, not so much, but we'll still do. It's good for photo and for video. I love portrait mode. I think it's great. If you're doing a style like this, portrait mode is really great. But what I have noticed is if you're doing that kind of like lived in, right? Lived in look where you have a little bit of this going on, it starts to create inconsistencies and the separation. Okay. So that is the one thing that I've noticed with portraits. So if I were you, I would take portrait, I would take regular, I would take video, I would take all the horizontal, vertical, all of the things when you guys are doing your pictures at the end. And this is roughly, $1,000. So let's go into my advanced setup. And I see you guys asking questions in the chat box. And trust me, I will get to all these questions. We will have time delegated towards the end. So this is actually, I have my camera right here. So this is my Sony. This is the A5100. I love it. It also has a flip up screen, which is really cool. But the great thing about this is not only is there a flip up selfie camera, but it also has Wi-Fi connection. So meaning that you can transfer your photos from here directly to your cell phone without using your laptop, which is awesome. Okay. And best part about it, there's a little bit of a skin softener on it and it does not touch the hair. So especially if you're doing video selfie, a little bit of a skin softener is nice for you and for your clients. All right. So this is actually going into some of the apps that I use online. This is Unum. I am obsessed with Unum. I've been using Unum now for about 4 years or so. So if you guys look in the corner, you're going to see that you can actually import pictures into this app and move it around. This is how I create a layout on Instagram. This is how I start to see if the pictures look good together. Remember, we were talking about aesthetically pleasing photos and videos. Well, I pre plan out everything on my Instagram page in order to create, again, that consistency and that aesthetically pleasing look right now. So also in Unum, if you do not have a business page, this is just another option for you. It will actually tell you what time to post. So on here, this person, Sunday at 3 o'clock is a really good time for them to post. I would say that wherever your audience lives, the majority, so let's say it's Eastern Standard Time Zone, I'm Eastern, but I also have a lot of people that follow from California, and that's Pacific Standard Time Zone. So for me, around like 11 o'clock, 10, 11, 12 o'clock is actually a really, really good time because people are awake or people are on their lunch break. And that's when I can actually jump right in and look, and they can look at my content and I can also interact with them. So, what is the algorithm, right? What is this dreaded algorithm everyone keeps talking about? So, Instagram's algorithm is the company, Instagram, choosing which posts users see in their feed and in what order. So, Instagram will rank your feed based on a few things. So, time, okay? So, I just mentioned that if your time says post Sunday at 3 o'clock, make sure you're posting when people are aware. Sundays are always a great day for like your favorite content because people are home, people are near their phones. If you have a really, really, really good video, a really, really good photo, I would definitely save it for Sundays. I would even, if you are trying to become an educator and you did do an educational video, Sundays or Mondays are really good. I would say either first thing in the morning, around lunchtime, or super late, like after dinner would be a really good time too. But keep in mind, guys, whatever is best for you. Okay, whatever fits your lifestyle, that's what you should do. Engagement. So as you guys are posting online, make sure that you are either taking a Monday and pre-planning out your entire week. That's what I do. On Mondays, I'll go on my Unum app and I'll figure out like 3 or 4 different photos for that week that I took last week. And then I create a caption for them right then and there. I set an appointment with myself for 1 hour. Okay, because when I have to get up in the morning and I have to walk my dog and I have to get myself ready and I have to jump in the car and go to work, I don't want to be figuring out what I need to post that day. I want to know exactly what it is because this is where analysis paralysis comes in. I'm going to solve your issue. Okay, because in order to be I know I'm speaking a mile a minute. In order to be creative, the weather has to be nice, you have to be well caffeinated, you have to have nothing going on in your brain space right then and there, right? If you're trying to like broom 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 gear yourself up every morning, it's not going to happen, and then you're not going to post. But what about Monday, 1 hour that you just figure out what you're going to post, and then that Wednesday morning you already have your caption, you already have your picture, and then that 5-10 minutes that you have to spare is just engaging on the people that are on your page. Okay, so engagement is really, really important online because it basically says, like, if someone waves at you, are you not going to wave back? Well, not even for the algorithm, in general, if somebody waves to you, are you not going to wave back? So you always want to make sure that you're writing back to every single person, but it also creates a relationship and more engagement on that individual post. Okay, and then previous engagement. So let's say someone comments to you, you comment back, and then they get a notification. Oh, she commented back. What are they going to do? They're going to go back to that post and see what it is. So Instagram says, wow, you just went to Olivia's page twice. You must really like Olivia. We're going to make sure every single time Olivia posts that they're going to show up first on the page. That's how the algorithms work. Instagram wants you guys to be friends. Okay, so get back to your direct messages, get back to your comments, right? And segregate that time to do that because that's what will help you to gear up to be first when you do post, because that's when you want more eyes and more visibility. So it's not just posting a photo and a caption and leaving Instagram alone. It's engagement, it's interaction. So this one thing that I actually learned, which is super important, is actually the timing. All right. This is when I learned about this part of the algorithm, that's when it completely changed my Instagram page. If you guys go to my page at OMG Artistry, you're going to notice that almost 85% of my content is video. And let me tell you why. Because when you're scrolling on Instagram, right, and you see a photo, you're like, oh, I'm going to like it. And then you move along, right? Well, what about when a video comes on? It automatically plays. And then you watch it. And then it's a good video. And then you have a good caption. And then all of a sudden, from a 1 to 2 or 3 second tap of a photo, you've now watched a 15-second video, a 30-second video, a minute video, a 5-minute video because it's really good. And then you have a super good engaging caption that has entertainment, education, inspiration. And then you ask a question at the bottom. Now all of a sudden, you have just spent 15, 20 minute seconds. Instagram's going to say, wow, you really enjoy Olivia's content. We're going to make sure every single time Olivia posts, it's going to show up first on the page. More eyes, more visibility. Okay. That is the unlocked key to success on Instagram, is getting used to videos. I actually have on my website omgartistry.com, I actually have a full class on how to do videos. Cynthia, if you could type www.omgartistry.com. And I do have education on how to do video because it is very tedious to just go over it in a class like this. Okay, should you mix personal and business? I'm gonna just say it like it is. Be personable without getting too personal, because there's a big difference between going out and drinking with your friends and going out and drinking with your friends, okay? If you wanna do this, have a personal page, okay? But for your business page, this is a no-no. There is that 20-80 rule, but it does not have to be you and your friends going on here and posting pictures like this. All right. So after this slide, guys, in about maybe like 5 minutes, not even like 3 minutes, we're going to bring Cynthia back on from Saga House, and we're going to go over the questions. So I already see so many questions coming in. So make sure you guys ask all your questions, and then Cynthia will be asking me, and then I'll answer and we'll do a Q&A. So as a last portion of this class, stories and going live. Okay. Ooh, so scary, right? Has anyone in here gone live before? Actually, no, answer this. Is there anyone in here that has not gone live before? Let me tell you something. Same thing too, where I was talking about algorithms. Think about it now. On Instagram, it's not just your feed and your direct messages anymore. All right, that was the beginning of IG. It's your feed, it's your direct messages, it's your IGTVs, it's your reels, it's your articles, it's stories, it's live. So you have like 7 or 8 different social media platforms that live on one app. So that's why you do have to sprinkle a little bit of information on your stories. That's why you do, I mean, you can go live, but let me explain to you guys why live, okay? So first and foremost, actors don't just act. They practice acting, okay? You don't recognize this person. Who is, it's, okay, first of all, it is a little weird to talk to your phone. Let's have an out-of-body experience on that. But you have to get used to you in front of the camera. I chuck up me being able to speak on camera, do these Zooms, talk in person, because of my practice on stories, my improv on stories. Because what do you do when you hate it? You re-record it, you re-record it, you re-record it, and then eventually you get better. And eventually, as you're on stories, people look forward to it. You guys, if you are only posting pictures of ring lights and white walls, what's going to make you stand out? 50% of the reason why people come and see you in the salon is because of you, right? That's the reason why they're going to prompt a direct message to reach out to you, is because they're getting to know you. If they're about to spend $200, $400, $600 with you, and maybe 4 to 5 to 6 hours, they might want to know what you're like. And that's how you build a brand on stories, is getting people to know who you are. Showcasing your personality. That's how you stand out in a world full of ring lights and white walls, is you. Your unique voice, your unique person. Look at all these social media influencers online, right? Not that you necessarily want to be them, but how did they get there? They're not better hairdressers than me, but they are a little bit consistent. They also post all the time, right? They also showcase their personality. They make a cameo in all of their videos. So everything that I told you guys today, don't feel like you have to do it all at once. Just implement one thing this week. In the chat box, tell me what you're going to implement. Just this one thing that I said, just this week. And when you get used to it and it becomes a part of your lifestyle, next week, you're going to implement one thing. And then in a month from now, you're going to implement something major, because you're going to take it to the next level. Every single month, we need to look ourselves in the mirror and reevaluate what our strategy is. What is the purpose? This month, I want more extension clients. This month, I want more haircuts. This month, so post more extension pictures. Post more videos of you doing haircuts, befores, afters. Whatever your strategy is what it has to meet online. Do you guys like that? Okay, so now we are actually going to go into the Q&A session, and I'm going to welcome back Cynthia of Saga House. Did you guys enjoy?
Hi, everyone. That was so awesome. Every time, Olivia, I hear you. I mean, I'm also taking notes. So so thank you everyone for being part of this session on behalf of Marlo Beauty Supply. And we're going to go over some Q&A questions. So Olivia, the first question we have is, how often do you recommend posting a week?
Okay, how often do you recommend posting a week? Keep in mind what your strategy is online. So for instance, even part-time usage of the app doesn't even equal part-time results online. So for me, I would say a minimum of 3 times per week. But if you want to take it to the next level, 4 times a week. If you want to be really consistent, 5 times a week. Okay. But that is also taking the time to create content. Content does not just come out of nowhere. You have to make that extra 5, 10, 15 minutes with your unicorn client that comes in order to create content. Cynthia.
Awesome. Are you ready for the next question?
I'm ready.
All right. So the next question is in regard to the Sony A5 100, and it is, do you need to take a class for that, or is it easy to use?
So I actually do have all there is, Cynthia posted at on www.omgartistry.com. I do have a class that explains advanced camera equipment. It explains how to actually take pictures and videos of your clients without an assistant. It talks about iMovie and how to import it, add music, add text. It's a 2-part long format video for you to really wrap your mind around photography and video.
Awesome. The next question is, how would you create a brand for a business when all your stylists all have different brands of their own?
Okay, so what I would recommend is setting up a meeting and setting up a selfie area or a photo area. So how can we come up with something that we can all agree on and put one space at the salon where we take pictures there? Now, how you can add brand personality of that individual stylist is like maybe a leather jacket or a jean jacket, right? So you can actually add on accessories that still speaks to that stylist, but the background is still consistent on when you post on your page.
Awesome. And If anyone has any more questions and you want Olivia to dive a little deeper, please add it to the chat box. The team is monitoring all your questions. Okay, the next one is, what color background do you recommend?
So when we were talking about brand personalities and colors, right? So white is universal. At the end of the day, white is universal. But let's say you wanted a black background. So keep in mind, somebody that would be more attracted to that black background is someone who's like chic, or maybe they like something like a little bit darker, right? So think of the person that you're going to be attracting with a darker background, okay? Maybe somebody that's a little more edgy, someone's a little more cool. So whatever, I love white because I love the way that it reflects on hair. At the end of the day, when I have a ring light in front of me, what ends up happening is that light not only bounces off the back, but then it bounces onto the hair. So it's easiest for me. I set up a lot of faux walls all the time in my photography. I like neutral tones. So whatever your brand personality is, but keep in mind why white is really good. It's not necessarily for the brand. It actually just helps to accentuate the hair color. And that's what it really is all about at the end of the day.
And I just also want to add to that, because many times what happens is, if you do have a background that is white or darker, or maybe you have good lighting in the salon and not outside of the salon, think of patterns. And so many of you probably don't know, but Olivia actually has a pattern on her grid. So if you look at her Instagram, so go to @OMGArtistry, you will see a pattern of when you see her face and when you see her hands and hair. So you're able to, so for example, maybe you do a row of light backgrounds and a row of dark backgrounds. And so try to have just a consistent pattern. Also helps the aesthetic of your Instagram. Do you agree, Olivia?
I totally agree, Cynthia. Absolutely.
Now we have a question. Are reels something you suggest using too?
I feel like I could have a whole class on reels with Cynthia. Yes, 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 and more. Yes. Post as many reels as you can. And the simplest things, guys. I did a video of how to wash your hair and it got over 300,000 views. Okay. So, like, even if you break that down to 3,000 views, that's a lot of views still. So, don't think so big. Show people just really quickly where to put leave-in conditioner inside of their hair, how to brush their hair. The simpler, the better. And TikTok is here to prove that. Okay, everything has been so successful on TikTok. Instagram Reels is the answer to TikTok, and Instagram is pushing Reels more right now because it's the newest feature. So yes, get on there.
It's like get real, right? Like
Get
do it.
real.
Get
Yeah,
real.
love
Live your best life.
it. I love it.
Now, I know we have some questions on TikTok, and I just let everyone know that we are on Monday, we'll be doing how to go Instagram viral and TikTok viral on Clubhouse. But one of the things I do want to speak to for TikTok, and Olivia, we would love to hear your like number one tip is, I would say for me, it is different than Instagram in the sense that with TikTok, it's really based on your viral video, music, and your viral hashtags. So what do you think, Olivia, contributes to that for TikTok?
I agree with music. I agree with all that. And is drawing the attention within the first 3 seconds. So what you guys will notice on my reels is like, you'll see me come into frame, or like, I'm like going like this, anything that's kind of like a call to like a, whoa, what was that? That the attention span is extremely important on there, but make a point, get to the point, still have education, still be entertaining, and then inspirational. And then anything you need to add to it, hair myths, I'm just pointing at a screen. And then everything else is in my captions because that's what fit my lifestyle at the time, right? I didn't have time to make a whole tutorial, but if I could just educate in my captions and make a little video of me pointing things, it made it so much easier for me.
Okay, so we're going to take the last question. And if we somehow missed your question, please feel free to send a direct message to @OMGArtistry, or send a message to @Marlo Beauty Supply, and we'll be happy to get to your answer, your question answer. Okay, so the last question is, how do you go from best feed to,
Say it one more time.
how do you go from best feed to better than best feed?
Okay, how do you go from best to better than best? By taking this class. You're already there, okay? You're gonna learn just from a few things that I said that you're gonna take a step back and look at your page as the client. That's how you take it to better than best. You start to eliminate all those advertisements from Halloween or Christmas and you get them off your page and you purge them and do a nice little cleanup. But make sure you guys, when you are starting to reanalyze your page, that you're archiving it. Just Google what is archiving and only do maybe 1 or 2 pictures like every 3 to 4 days. You do not want to add a whole bunch of traction onto your page by taking things off. So 1 added photo, 1 taken away photo every few days. I want to thank Marlo Beauty Supply so much for having me. This has been so much fun. Bye guys. Thank you so much.